Welcome everybody to another episode of Fins Nation. I'm your host Louis Sung, and today we're going to be discussing what position would the Miami Dolphins be helping Tua Tagovailoa the most with if they selected it with the 51st overall pick in this upcoming NFL draft. There was a poll that was put out by the 3 yards per carry Twitter account, which basically gave 4 options for fans to choose from. And those 4 positions were, very simply, I can just read them off for you really quickly here: top running back on the board, top pass catcher on the board, which you could also take as tight end or wide receiver, top guard, or top tackle. So 4 options to choose from, and I'll go ahead and I'll go into the results of what the poll is so far as of right now. There's still 14 hours as I am recording this, so it'll probably be over by the time you're listening to this. So with that said, we'll go ahead and get into it in just a moment, but first I want to go ahead and mention that this show is of course brought to you by our friends and sponsors, You Brake Wheel Fix. You Brake Wheel Fix is the complete automotive wheel solution. Ever parked too close to the sidewalk curb? You Brake Wheel Fix specializes in the repair of damaged wheels from bends, cracks, or curb rash. Or maybe your wheels are faded or peeling. You don't need to replace them, as You Brake Wheel Fix can refinish them to like new. Offering complete refinish options through powder coating, machining, and polishing, You Brake Wheel Fix is the answer to all of your wheel needs. And if you're just looking to give your ride a new look, You Brake Wheel Fix also offers many car customizing options, such as new custom wheels and tires from your favorite brands, performance upgrades, window tinting, and even suspension modifications. Located just south of Aventura, you can reach Mark and his staff at 305-748-0112 or online at youbrakewheelfix.com. They are really active on all social media platforms at YouBrakeWheelFix, so shoot them a DM on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter and get an estimate in just minutes. So don't delay, go to YouBrakeWheelFix and start customizing your ride to show off your Dolphins fandom today. This show is also brought to you by PrizePicks.com. PrizePicks.com is a revolutionary fantasy platform where you can now pick up to 6 different players across professional sports leagues, whether that's the NFL, the NBA, the MLB, one of each. It's up to you to decide. Just choose whether your chosen player will get more or less than their projected stat. You have plenty of stats to choose from. They also give you free squares over at PrizePicks. They give you special Taco Tuesday promos, Flex Friday specials to where you can get your money back if you lose, or multiply the amount of money you can normally win. So with offers like that, it's hard to justify not signing up at this point. So use the promo code FIVE, that's F-I-V-E, and they will match up to $100 on your initial deposit when you sign up. Again, that's promo code FIVE, spell that out, F-I-V-E. Go to prizepicks.com, deposit your $100, get $100 matched so you can play on their dime, and we're very proud at 5 Reasons Sports to have Prize Picks as our sponsors. Okay, so let's go ahead and break down the logistics of this poll, shall we? So once again, the 3 yards per carry Twitter account put out a poll that basically gave fans the option to vote for what would be the most beneficial for Tua Tagovailoa if they picked them at the 51st overall pick. So again, running back, pass catcher, guard, or tackle. And based on the poll as I'm reading it so far, and that's over 1,000 votes, it's an overwhelming victory for the top tackle on the board. And of course, it makes sense. It goes right back to the same discussion that we've had several times already before. What is the biggest glaring hole for the Miami Dolphins as we know it right now? That's the offensive tackle position. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Nobody is convinced that Austin Jackson is going to be any good. Regardless of whether they had this moment of clarity in the beginning of last season, regardless of how much training, regardless of how much work he puts into it, nobody's convinced that Austin Jackson is going to be anything other than a top A, grade A draft bust. There's just nothing there with him as far as anyone else is concerned. Again, I personally am not convinced that he can't be good at all. I think that there might be something there just based on the short amount of film that I saw at the beginning of the 2022 season. Because again, I don't ignore things that I see with my eyes. If I say that he looks good right at the beginning, it's because I see something there that I think might be worth investing in. And apparently Mike McDaniel does too, because I don't see them rushing to find a replacement right away. I don't see them desperately signing DJ Fluker. I don't see them bringing back Eric Fisher right now. They probably will bring him back later. I'm still convinced of that somewhere down the line, that eventually they're going to bring him back. But as far as looking for an immediate replacement, they're not rushing to go get Terrence Steele from the Cowboys. They're not looking to get that Packers tackle either. They're taking their dear sweet time with this. So apparently Mike McDaniel sees something there. And as far as guard, Liam Eichenberg, again, he's a hole. You don't know if he's going to be any good. You don't know if hopefully, because Mike McDaniel, again, I have to come back to what Mike McDaniel was saying. He seems convinced that being in the same offense for a second year in a row, finally being able to not have to change everything from the ground up, seems to be making a difference for him. And if that's the case, by all means, go for it. I hope it works out. But the fact of the matter is, there's no clear-cut answer. at either offensive tackle or guard. Ironically enough, though, even though tackle is overwhelmingly in front as far as what the most beneficial position for Tua would be, it's actually pretty close between guard and running back. So, respectively, as I'm currently looking at this, tackle is at 67.9%, running back is in second place with 15.5%, and then guard is at 13.9%. Now, that makes it very interesting for me because with how stressed the offensive tackle position seems to be for the Miami Dolphins, I don't understand why the same urgency isn't being looked at for the guard position. Because if you're really that convinced that Austin Jackson is just that awful, then why don't you have that same stress regarding Liam Eichenberg at left guard? Don't you think that you would want to fix that hole too? You would think that it would actually be a little less for tackle, if only because there would be more people voting for guard. But no, it's the running back position. And I find that very interesting because, again, the Miami Dolphins doubled down when they went ahead and grabbed Raheem Mostert and Jeff Wilson and Savon Ahmed back. They brought back pretty much their whole running back core. So either the rumors of Derrick Henry and Dalvin Cook and Austin Eckler, all that stuff is still ringing in the ears of Dolphins fans of the potential of having a superstar running back at the ready. And if that is the case, well, I get why you feel that way. I do. Again, we've had this discussion before. I feel like that if the Miami Dolphins were to go ahead and grab a superstar running back, whether that's Jahmyr Gibbs or someone along those lines, maybe somebody else falls to them because running back doesn't seem to be a very important position for many people nowadays, although I think that narrative is starting to reverse a little bit as time goes on. But I just find it interesting that we have so much emphasis on the offensive tackle position, but guard is widely being overlooked. If you really believe that the offensive line is the key to Tua Tagovailoa staying healthy and making sure that nothing goes wrong, why would you not want to focus on guard almost as much as tackle? So either that's faith in Liam Eichenberg that you could argue is being misplaced, or they're just convinced that the Dolphins will find somebody. Maybe they think Dan Feeney is really good. Maybe they think that Liam Eichenberg will turn it all around. Maybe they think that Robert Jones is better than he's given credit for. I don't know. I don't understand it, truthfully. Now, that just leaves the pass catcher, 2.7%. Now, there are a lot of talented players at wide receiver and tight end, and a lot of them may not be available at 51. The running backs, at the very least, it's a very deep running back class. You could easily find a very good running back in the third round or even in the later rounds, and you could be very happy with the result that you get. So once again, I ask, why does running back beat out guard? Here's the way that I'm looking at it, and this is just the way that I see it. Obviously, the top tackle on the board is going to be number one. I knew that from the moment that the poll went up because of the whole Austin Jackson thing. People are burned by Austin Jackson. He's a first-round bust as far as anyone is concerned, and nobody's willing to give him the chance at redemption at this point. He's already gone too far. He's already been hurt too many times, and when he has been healthy, his performance has been subpar at best, except for literally just 14 snaps against the New England Patriots in the start of the 2022 season. That's not enough to justify redemption. Now, Liam Eichenberg came a year later, so I guess some people are looking at him saying, okay, we're willing to give you another chance just because you haven't been here quite as long, and we knew that you were really good in college. Okay, that's fine. You want to go there, that's fine. But if I'm the Miami Dolphins, I'm looking at this whole thing, and I'm still saying, we had this discussion yesterday regarding where does talent fit over scheme. And if you really want the top tackle on the board, you may have to go and get that guy DeJuan Jones, because once again, we're doing this game where we're saying, oh, Matthew Bergeron, which, by the way, some mock drafts have him still being drafted before the Miami Dolphins pick at 51. And if Matthew Bergeron is already selected, and you're left with the likes of maybe Tyler Steen, who, again, a project player. He's a project. So I don't understand why people are so convinced that if you draft an offensive tackle in the second round, this is not necessarily a deep class. It really isn't. There's a lot of project players, maybe some guys with some upside. Maybe you think Butch Berry can get the most out of these kids out of college. But if that's the case, why wouldn't you have trust that he can get the most out of Austin Jackson or Liam Eichenberg or whoever you want to throw at right tackle? Heck, Kendall Lamb. Again, I ride the Kendall Lamb train only because I saw that he could do really good with what he was given, which is very brief. I'm not saying he's the long-term answer, but maybe he's an answer. Either way, if you think that these scheme fit players, these project players, are going to be that much better than what we already have, that's putting a lot of faith in the ability of the Miami Dolphins to scout and draft these guys. Because a lot of these later round people, a lot of these projected offensive tackles that are going to be on the board for the Dolphins when it's time for them to pick, none of them really inspire a level of confidence that you can desperately say, yep, this is going to be it. With all my being, I'm going to say, this is the guy the Miami Dolphins will be able to ride into the sunset to the Super Bowl. Do you really feel that confident? If it's anybody but DeJuan Jones, I don't know how you can be. And mind you, again, DeJuan Jones is not a scheme fit. You are playing the game of saying that talent is going to be over scheme fit. We had this discussion yesterday. You can listen to that show if you want to, just to get some more clarification on what I mean on that. So here we are again. Okay, you want tackle more than anything else. Why would you not want guard? There's a very high possibility that there are going to be some better guards than there would be tackles by the time the Miami Dolphins pick at 51. And wouldn't replacing Liam Eichenberg, who was shown to be a liability in his own right, have a big impact on how the offensive line goes? Wouldn't you want to have that option, even if it's not necessarily a good option? Wouldn't you at least want to have the option of being able to push Liam Eichenberg back out to right tackle just to have him compete with Austin Jackson? Maybe Eichenberg looks better than Jackson. You don't know. A lot of people say that Eichenberg has what it takes at guard as far as his physical tools, but not at tackle. Okay, that's fine. You want to have that discussion. But as far as I'm concerned, if you really want somebody who's going to help Tua right now, if you want somebody who's going to make sure that he's going to have an impact on what Tua can do, I'm looking at the Miami Dolphins. I'm looking at the players that are projected to be available. I don't know that Matthew Bergeron would be available, and if he was, I don't know that he would be able to start over other guys. I don't know that Tyler Steen would be able to start over other guys, but there might be some guards, and then you can try to play around with the tackle position after the fact. So if you're looking for somebody who can help Tua right now, and you know for sure he's going to be able to help right now, I'm honestly inclined to look at running back. Now, I'm still on record of saying that the Miami Dolphins should draft a tight end with the 51st overall pick, because we've gone into the hows and the whys of how that would all go down. The Miami Dolphins need a better long-term answer at tight end than Durham Smythe and Eric Saubert. That's just not going to be it. And a tight end would be able to help Tua if he was able to do more than just either block or catch passes. Because there are guys like Sam Laporta out of Iowa who could potentially do both. Now, I know the tight ends have a sharp learning curve in the NFL when they first get there, but that hasn't stopped other players from showing up at times. Maybe Laporta could do that. And if he were to do that, can you imagine how much better Tua would be able to play, knowing that he has somebody who's reliable, who can either block or catch passes at the flip of a switch? So it's actually stunning to me that pass catcher isn't a little bit higher than 2.9%. It's pretty wild. So all in all, I understand why people are saying that the top tackle on the board should be where the Miami Dolphins focus, and that's why they feel like that would be the most beneficial position for Tua Tagovailoa in the 51st overall pick. Because in a vacuum, let's say that everybody was equal as far as talent is concerned. Like, let's say you have somebody the likes of a DeJuan Jones at running back, at tackle, at guard, at tight end. Every single position that you have there, everybody's equal in their overall talent level. Like, you're playing a Madden game. What's the rating? What is their Madden rating? Let's say everybody's Madden rating here is like an 81. What would be the most beneficial for Tua if they were to be picked? You would probably be right. The tackle would probably be better. Because if you're looking at Austin Jackson and saying, oh, he's a 72, or you're looking at Liam Eichenberg at guard and you're saying, oh, he's a 75. And I'm being generous with that right now. If that's what you're looking at, then I can understand. Because if it's in a vacuum and talent is irrelevant, everything is just absolutely neutral, then yes, tackle would be the most beneficial for Tua, because obviously it keeps Tua healthy, it keeps Tua on his feet, it gives him time to search the field if he needs to, it lets him analyze, lets him look around. He doesn't have to worry about getting the ball out within 2 seconds or he's going to land on his back, or worse, his head, and end up with a career-ending injury. Because that's the sort of thing that we have to worry about with Tua, right? That's the one main criticism that you can honestly look at him and say, this is why we're concerned about you, his injury history. With that being said, yes, for that reason, tackle would be the most beneficial. But I have to submit that this vacuum Madden rating reality does not exist. There are players that may be good, that may not be so good available at 51. You cannot just take a tackle for the sake of taking a tackle. That's how you ended up with Austin Jackson in the first place. That's how you ended up back in the day with Jawan James in the first place. You were so determined, so convinced that you were going to take a tackle, and that was the end of the discussion, that you were willing to take whoever was there, regardless of whether you thought that they were going to be good or not. That is the mistake that you have to avoid at all costs. You need to find somebody who can not only do the job, but you have to make sure that, yes, the position is important, but you have to make sure they're actually going to be good at what they do. So if you're looking at all these tackles that are available at 51, and you're saying, I'm not sure if this guy's going to do the job, but we're going to pick him anyway because we don't really have a choice, the hole is just too big, you've already lost. Because for all you know, Austin Jackson may show up. For all you know, Liam Eichenberg may suddenly be good again. All you know, Kendall Lamb may suddenly become this hidden gem that was in their back pocket all along. Maybe all along, Eric Fisher still had it in him. And after the Dolphins bring him back, they're going to look at him and say, you know what? You were good enough to be the guy, and we're sorry we ever doubted you. You can't know that. You cannot draft based on need that badly. Because again, we've already been down this hole several times. Don't fall for it again. So I believe that the Miami Dolphins should draft a tight end for my reasons. And as far as this poll goes, I get it, but things are not in a vacuum. I would implore you to look at it again. We're going to go ahead and call it here. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Once again, if you haven't already done so, make sure you check out You Break Wheel Fix if you're looking to get some modifications to your car. If you need to get your tires worked on, you don't need to replace them if they have anything like a bend or a crack or curb rash. They can refinish them to like new. They can use powder coating, machining, polishing, or if you just need to customize your wheels to really show off your Dolphins fandom, go to You Break Wheel Fix. Give Mark and his staff a call at 305-748-0112 or online at You Break Wheel Fix on any of their social media platforms. And of course, if you haven't already done so already, go to PrizePicks.com, use the promo code 5, that's FIVE, and they will match up to $100 on your initial deposit when you sign up. If you're looking to win some money, they can help you out because they'll give you Taco Tuesday discounts, they'll give you Flex Friday specials, they give you pretty much every reason under the sun to go ahead and head over there. Not to mention, of course, the fact that once again, I mentioned this, go to PrizePicks.com and sign up using our promo code. If you put in up to $100, they will match every penny of that $100 and you get to play starting out on their dime. So you may be able to win a lot of money before you even have to use any of the money you deposited. So once again, prizepicks.com, promo code 5, go sign up today. We will see you all tomorrow for more Fins Nation.